Hello, everybody. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everyone. Apollo's right behind us, listening intently and ready to begin. So let's get started. This reading, again, is for the month of December, and it can be used for sun, rising, and moon sign. And I always begin my readings with channeled messages. Today, there were about 3 different images that came through in dreams. The first thing that I saw was just a pair of glasses. And to me, this represents myriad of things. It can be looking at a situation or a relationship from a new perspective. It's also about scrutinizing something. So this is especially true of those of you that might be looking at a legal document, a contract, or just trying to make sure that you've done everything that you said you were going to do. It's looking through and dotting those I's, crossing those T's, asking any questions, really taking time to read the fine print. And then if you're feeling a little bit stuck, get a different perspective, talk to somebody else. So the glasses were the first piece. And maybe for some of you, it's time to change your prescription. I like to look a little bit more abstract, though, when I'm getting some of these. The other thing that I saw was a karmic relationship. And it feels like it's someone that's already in your life, but the scales have shifted. What I saw in a previous lifetime was you were playing the role of like assistant or working for them. And now it's more on the level. In this lifetime, you're basically peers, but it takes a minute or two sometimes for the souls to catch up to the new you. And so there may be certain points in your relationship where they expect things from you, or they get bossy, or they feel entitled. So one of the things that you're overcoming in this lifetime is the need to sort of satiate every single need and desire that this person may have, because it's their turn to kind of find their own inner independence, and you're cutting through the codependency of a past lifetime. So I think this would be more likely to show up in a friendship or a work relationship, but possibly even like a cousin or a family member. I don't necessarily see it in a partnership so much. It seemed to be more of that kind of energy where you're working together or you know each other. And sometimes you're like, why is this person so bossy? Or why do they feel like they can tell me what to do? That's why. And so good boundaries are really the key here. Just letting people know sometimes that you're not looking for feedback on something, or that you're absolutely fine with the path that you're on. All right. And the last thing here was getting organized. I felt this little bit of anxiety over all the things that were going on. Some of you may be really good at doing this, but may still feel that sense of, how do I stay on top of all of this? And some of you may just know that this is something that you need to work on. Either way, I think it's important to slow down and just make sure that you have a way to track it, whether it's a digital calendar or someone in your life that can keep you accountable for certain things, etc. But there may be one too many things in the mix. And the sort of glasses piece about being discerning can help you. Look closer and decide, is this something that is reciprocating on the energy, getting me closer to my goals, satisfactory? And if there's anything that just feels like it's not right or not in the mix, now is the time to push it to the side and focus. We're going to take a closer look at the cards now and see where there might be some karmic relationships coming up, and also what other opportunities or challenges may be in the mix. Let's get started. As always, take a moment, please. Close your eyes. Let's tune in and set the intentions. I'd like you to imagine something that connects you to the sun. It can be sunrise or sunset. See yourself in a space where you feel safe, connecting to that solar energy, feeling that you are wrapped in a cocoon of light. And in this safe energy, start to call in your angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters, and also connect to your own wisdom of your soul. All right, when you're ready, open your eyes, and we're setting the intentions right now to receive whatever needs to come through for your own highest good. We have a few of my favorite cards already making an appearance here with the Star and the Judgment card. Really, really good. Plus 3 of Wands. pretty favorable so far. Let me just finish pulling everything and then we'll talk. All right, let's begin with the Catalyst card. We have self-interest coming through. The Catalyst functions as a bit of a wake-up call and also a chance to create necessary action. In this case, the wake-up call is to pay attention to what someone's self-interest may be when they're representing you or connected with you. There are 3 cards right off the bat that I could connect to this. One of them would be the Devil. The Devil is doing something not for the good of you so much as whatever they might be trying to get. It's usually a one-sided deal, one-sided contract when the Devil is involved. The Moon is a little more nuanced. It is someone who just isn't disclosing everything, right? And it's often the art of omission, which can still be a sort of deceptive practice. So ask as many questions as you can, get those glasses on and read the fine print. That's why I was seeing the glasses. And of course it can be the 7 of Swords, where someone's just trying to get away with something. The fact that this came through, I feel like you're going to sort of catch on to it. And so trust your instincts. If there's something where you just feel like, I don't get this, don't sign it. If you meet someone and you think, I don't trust you, listen to that intuition. And if there's something that seems like it might be good, too good to be true, do some research and see how it stacks up against other options out there. Someone may be trying to push their own agenda here, right? And that's the main thing here. And then when it comes to your own business practices, this is really an encouragement to be as transparent as possible. So if there is a conflict, just say, oh yeah, I'm associated with this person. I'm happy to give the referral, but there might be a kickback. Like something like that is a very responsible way of saying, this is what I get out of it, take it or leave it. Then you're sort of like, it's all above line, right? Above the dotted line. So act with integrity, be transparent, and then for your own sort of like better knowledge when it comes to other things, be inquisitive, do your research, and trust your instincts, all right? A lot to unpack with that, but really important. Let's go ahead now and see how this month stacks up at a glance, and then I'll take it card by card. The one thing that I love about this particular spread, and it's kind of been a theme over the past couple of signs, I'm not seeing like the Tower, the Devil, the 10 of Swords. So most of what's coming through is for a positive change. Your biggest challenge, I can already see it, is in your environment here with the 6 of Pentacles. You have to make some choices. The 6 of Pentacles is easier than the 2, so I feel like you can get most of what you need done, and you're going to be able to sort of like juggle things around a little bit. So this is a positive card here. And I also like that we have manifestation coming through here as well. And we have an angelic card in the form of Judgment. Some decisions for you to make, but it's going to be all right. Let's just do a card at a time so we don't get overwhelmed. Page of Cups. This is a great way to start the spread off. Some of you may be starting off the month with some good news. Typically, this is a card that can represent either success in communication, because it's a page, positive news that is incoming that kind of sets your heart aflutter, a new relationship, positive changes in relationship, plus it's you, Cancer, it's water. The page is also about speaking your heart, speaking what's on your mind, using your own emotions and charisma to also pull things into your sort of environment, your orbit. So this is you leaning into what you do best, compassion, creativity, and intuition. And yes, there might be something worth celebrating. The main thing you have to open up to is saying, I'm ready to receive it. Let's bring it on, okay? Let's take a look at what's crossing that card, and it's really positive, folks. We have here the Three of Wands coming through. I'm going to compare it and contrast it to the original Rider-Waite-Smith card. So if we look at the original one, there's a stationary person on a cliff looking at the ships coming in, waiting for something to happen. The deck that I'm using today, which is Steampunk Tarot, is a little bit more proactive. He's using this viewfinder to make sure that he not only sees this, but even what's beyond that. And I always like to mention that the more active, proactive, and aware that the Three of Wands is, the more opportunity you can see, the more things you can manifest, the faster it can happen. So things are already underway. It's just about looking in the right space at the right time. So if you were wondering, can I do something? Will it happen? There's an immediacy to this card that says this is a time where whatever it is you're trying to do, it can indeed manifest. Travel could be advantageous. The ships in this card represent sometimes it's important to meet someone face to face in order to, get that final handshake and sign on the dotted line. More importantly, there may be some negotiation that you have to do, because I mentioned that there might be a contract that doesn't feel right. So this is a chance to go there, and when you're speaking face to face, heart to heart, usually there's a little bit more openness and honesty and ability to read the nonverbal cues. This is going to set you into a positive trajectory as well. What I do like about this, in addition to everything we talked about, is there could be new opportunities landing on your lap. So this is a month where I was picking up on there's a lot happening, right? So it's not necessarily all in work. There could be developments in your relationships. There could be school or business opportunities. There could be something positive happening with your finances. It could be happening in different sectors of your life. We're going to be looking at the expanded forecast in a bit, so we'll keep an eye out for any sort of glittering opportunities there. But open yourself up to receive more than you're used to receiving, and just tell yourself, I'm going to be able to figure it out. We'll talk more about this when we get into the environment, but I actually feel very good about that statement, because this is all about achieving balance in your life. You have to make a decision and stick with that decision, but if you do that, you're going to find balance, and I do believe that you can juggle a couple things at once. Multitasking is part of this month. Let's take a look at the deep past here, where the Page of Wands came through. At the beginning of the reading, I mentioned that there could be karma between you and someone else. Not necessarily from your past in this lifetime, but from a previous lifetime. And pages are interesting because it can represent parent-teacher energy. It can be the assistant that I saw. Typically, it's someone that's studying from a person that has mastered a skill. So the message from Spirit in this lifetime is you've graduated. You're on the level, and we have a card of balance and reclaiming that balance. And the challenge will just be the internal feeling that you have to answer to them, or they know more than you, or that they are entitled, like they're feeling a sense of entitlement to, just boss you around. So once more, that's coming through. There could be something in this lifetime where you have either done a lot of personal growth and outgrown a relationship, or again, you've grown to the point that you're on the level with somebody. So whether this life or a past life, I'm getting the same sort of energy of congrats on doing the inner work and don't sell yourself short. Now, we'll take that out of the mix. This card is also simply saying don't overthink things. Page of Wands is a card of imagination, it's instinct, it's intuition, and it's able to innovate itself out of any situation. But when it's reversed, oftentimes it second guesses its ability to do something. So don't be that reversed page this month. Allow yourself to follow a line of thought, follow an instinct, and see something all the way to the finish line without the sort of fear or doubt or anxiety cutting you off prematurely, okay? Open yourself up to new ways of thinking. And so if you did want to go and get some training or learn something new, that's also a way to kind of shake yourself out of that doubt. But I really feel like you've already got something more complete or put together than you might imagine. The key to your success this month lies in this card here, the Star. It's in recent past, and for some of you, you're going to be feeling this just as December kicks off. For those of you watching it live, it could be happening right now. But basically, it's saying don't dim your light. Allow yourself to fully embrace what it is that you want to be, or your personality or your form of expression, and don't suppress it or sort of shoehorn it into something that doesn't feel right. Authenticity is everything. And you're being asked to step into the spotlight. Not everyone has the same comfort level with being seen, with being heard, with stepping forward. But if you can kind of just, it's not faking it till you make it because you've already got it. If you just step into it and then, like one step at a time, sort of deal with whatever challenges come through without getting in your headspace too much, I feel like you're going to excel this month. Confidence boosting is something that takes time and practice. So that's where a mentor can help. That's where you may not be perfect the first time, but I feel like you're going to find your way to a place where you're really comfortable. So just allow yourself to be who you want to be. And when we're grown-ups, we don't get that chance that children get to imagine, what do I want to be when I grow up? This is one of those moments. When you're watching this reading, I want you to ask yourself, what do I truly want to be? Don't worry about when I grow up or in 2 years, or let's just take the time out of it, because we should constantly be asking ourselves, what do I want to be next? What's my next big dream? What's my next big goal? Don't put a cap on that or a glass ceiling on it. Just allow yourself to dream and reach really, really big, because the star is telling me you've got that star power. All right, let's see what's going on in the crowning position. King of Pentacles in reverse. So I saw this for the previous sign, and very similar card. I think the king and the queen were kind of in the crowning position and the outcome. So very similar placement here. You just got the king. We don't see the queen. So let me talk about how this is going to relate to you. King of Pentacles is typically a very giving card, very paternal. So for those of you that are parents, teachers, nurses, mentors, or you just feel like everybody comes to you for advice and help, I can see it here. There is a point where that becomes exhausting, or where your own battery needs to be refilled. This is the month. So if you've been constantly giving and giving and giving but not receiving in the environment, that's why the Six of Pentacles came through. You have to even the exchange. And it's okay to ask. It's okay to cash in a little bit on that good karma, on that good energy that you've put out there. This is saying, I need some help here, or I could use some support, or I would love your input. Whatever it is that you expect, need, or desire, speak it, request it, and see if you don't receive at least a portion of it. The Six of Pentacles tells me you can get more than you think. So you obviously want to be realistic, but also don't sell yourself short. We're really finding in this moment you can do more than you think. You've graduated a lot of things karmically, and the biggest challenge is just recognizing that within, because confidence, it can kind of like, it can shift the scales in your favor when it comes to new opportunities. Believe in yourself. That's the one thing I really want you to take away from this reading today, is to believe in yourself. If you want to go back to school, this is all about that. So anything for self-enrichment, training, education, support, taking some time to yourself, also just taking a day off or something, whether that, maybe you're going to read a book, take a bubble bath, go for a hike, whatever it is where it feels like I'm taking care of myself. In this moment, make a plan for this month and do a couple of those days so that you can take your battery and bring it back to charged, your internal battery. Now, King of Pentacles is really good with money. And one of the things that he might be doing with the reversal here is deciding to be a little bit more conservative and to move around investments a little bit. Again, perhaps investing in himself, but also just making sure that there's not like a overspending or a deficit. You can bring it into balance. I keep saying that. We're almost there, but we have one more card first. Actually, two more, I'm sorry. The near future is a very powerful card. This is like the pen. So an Ace of Swords in reverse is revising, reviewing, editing, and also just using clear communication. No, I don't want that. Yes, I want that. Making it abundantly clear to people what's expected, what to do, where you stand. And you're allowed to change your mind or change your direction, but let's get whatever you're going to do next into writing. For yourself, for that organizational piece that I talked about in channel messages, And also to make sure that this doesn't happen. If you're afraid of somebody having like self-interest and doing more and not giving enough to you, let's put it all into writing and make sure that you're protected, that everything is, again, clear, communicated, and equal as possible. This is a great month for those of you that are natural-born writers or composers or just creative people, again, to be very hands-on. So it doesn't have to just be you with a pen. You could be typing it, you could be building it, you could be doing it. This is action that needs to happen. It's a little bit overdue because of the reversal. So all that has come before it is basically saying it's now time to take action, particularly when it comes to an opportunity that's knocking. These three tell a big story here, which is you're coming into the spotlight. There's some good news. There may be one or two opportunities or three opportunities in front of you, and you have to start to take action. It's like the early bird gets the worm with this. To that end, some decisions need to be made. Judgment, when it's representing you, is so powerful. This is a card of fresh starts and reinvention. So just because you always did things one way, or you went to school for one thing, or you've been working for a decade in one job or one path, does not mean that that's your forever path unless you want it to be. If you want to take a radical turn, this is your card. We see an angel here, and we see souls, and they're typically in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition rising up. In this particular illustration, what we see is it's almost like you're going to break the record. Like if there's something where you've been stuck in a cycle, you're going to break that and you're going to set something new into motion. But judgment always requires you to decide, am I ready? And perhaps even to let people know, I want this. This is the time. This is the moment. And just so you can see what the traditional illustration looks like, here are the souls that are rising up. And there's always an angel up there also asking you, is this what you want? Are you ready? If not, tell me what you want. The universe is more able to assist you once you've communicated your vision, your intention, and then again, those synchronicities that we saw here in the Three of Wands start to really take action and take form. Finally, we're in the environment here. I've alluded to this at least a few times here. We have the Six of Pentacles coming through. This bodes really, really well for you because we see all of these hands outstretched, right? Ostensibly, you're the woman here with the scales deciding, should I do this or should I do that? That means opportunity is knocking on the door, and you just have to decide what feels right for you. And judgment is that decision. But unlike justice, where you're actually weighing the decision, it's already in your third eye and your heart. So all you have to do is articulate it. And this is where it's important not to get into the energy of the deep past where the overthinking is coming through. There's another thing I want to talk about with this, and that is really with respect to like budget, timeline, and scope. Very business sort of piece, but it can help you. You have to kind of look at all three of those things, and if something is too costly, you could spread it over time, so you could adjust the timeline. If something needs to be done faster, then you're going to actually be the one doing some asking, and you might need to get some additional resources, a loan, or some more budget. And at the end of the day, if you can't control that, you just do less and try to do it better, so scope. So it's being logical and practical and pragmatic and planning it out. And that is going to make you successful and a good leader, because that's what you would bring to a conversation. You would ask someone, what's the most important thing? Is it the quantity? Is it the timeline? Or is it the quality? And we're going to have to make some decisions based on the budget with all of that. And so just keep it real, and I think you'll be all right. And finally, this is work-life balance too. We'll talk more about that as we get into health. First things first, though, let's look at hopes, fears, and opportunity. We have the Knight of Wands. It's also in reverse. And it feels like for some of you, I'm actually getting like thinking yourself into a headache or just maybe even getting into the energy of like the Nine of Swords where it affects your sleeping. I think that I'm really trying to encourage you not to overthink right now. So trust in your instincts, see how it works, and know that the more you practice, the better you'll get at whatever it is you're trying to do. Okay? So less thinking, more doing. Get your research done, but at a certain point, know that you're ready. Now, nights can take a step back if needed. So this night is looking at the big picture. That's really what this is all about. So rather than, for some of you, if you're too busy and there's too many things going on, this is about taking some time to look at all of it, kind of like this Three of Wands, from a distance, from a new perspective. We talked about the glasses, and making sure that it still feels right, that you haven't overlooked something, that if there is someone emanating Devil's Seven of Swords or moon energy, that you're calling out that self-interest in them and kind of getting everything cleared. But in order to do that, you have to take a step back. So this is overdue vacation. This is a reminder before a big decision to take a walk, ground yourself, meditate, take a deep breath, and just make sure that you feel good, that your mind is clear, okay? And we have one of the most powerful cards in the outcome, the Magician. The Magician is reversed, but that just means that you have to focus and believe. Magic works if you believe in it, if you are focused and if you are present. When you start to get distracted or when you lose faith, this card is not as empowered as it could or should be. As I'm looking at this card, the image of a rabbit comes through, like the traditional magician, like in just pop culture. And that tells me that you have the ability to make people believe that you're pulling a rabbit out of a hat. You're really just being really innovative. So trust your instincts, think outside of the box, try something bold and new. And people won't know how or why you did it, but it's because you saw a path that no one else could. That's your rabbit out of a hat sort of energy. And then the rabbit itself portends good things. Productivity, abundance, rapid movement. So that's the key to your success. Focusing and having faith. All right, let's go ahead and expand this forecast. We're going to go a little deeper into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with the energy of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And let's see what's coming through here. We have Raziel, inner workings. There are hidden truths beneath the surface. Dig deeper. So I believe that this is absolutely tied to this. And when it comes to health, whether it's having a healthy relationship, having good work-life balance, or when you're working with a doctor that's advising you on something and they're doing something that benefits them, you got to call that out and make sure that you understand if, like, this is especially if there's some sort of a kickback or referral or something, make sure that you understand why you're being sent in that direction and that there are no strings attached. I also think this is just a call to go deeper. So the Magician, just like High Priestess, can also be connected to meditation and just inner knowing, which is what this is about. So spending some time to really get to know yourself and have some quiet time this month is important. The card being reversed tells me that some of you are kind of like on the go constantly, and now is your time to check in, to take care, and to focus on what matters most. We're going to take a deeper dive here into all things spiritually related to your health. I'm looking at energy. So if there is something going on in your body, I always like to encourage you to work with a professional. All right, let's look at the cards. The biggest thing that kept coming through as I was looking at all of these cards earlier was just the amount of energy that was going into thinking, overthinking, processing stress or anxiety. And so with this page and Knight of Wands, what we were talking about here, taking a step back and getting perspective, is really important. So if you do have time in your schedule to take a vacation or a mental health day or a sick day, this is a really good month to schedule that in and prioritize things. And just stepping back can help you clarify what it is that you want, to make that decision, and to, again, find the balance that you've been seeking. Judgment is really interesting because it can be a little bit of a wake-up call. Sometimes it's a close brush with something that could have been more serious but isn't. Sometimes it is serious, but there is a sort of capability in this card to rise up from the challenge and to do better, as we were looking at in this version of the card. So you can bounce back, but there has to be a choice that I choose to make a change. I'm deciding to move in a new direction. And if you do that, then you'll start to see positive results because of it. Saying no is so important. And discernment, just a fancy word for being picky. Don't be afraid to say no to some things that are just too much, too often, or too stressful. And finding enough time for things like sleep, exercise, proper eating, all of that is a part of your general health and well-being. Because this is a mind, body, spirit part of the reading, the magician represents the time that you're taking to tune in. And if your mind is going a mile a minute, any form of meditation works here. So that could be listening to music, it could be exercise, an artistic sort of expression, whether it's writing, painting. It can also be, I was talking about this Ace of Swords here, hands-on sort of energy. You could be building something, anything that you do that takes the energy in your head and in your body and puts it into something productive and positive. That definitely is coming through in this spread. What I do like, though, is there's some good news and good developments this month, so take time to drink it in. This Page of Cups is recognizing it and saying, thank goodness. And I think that's one of the healthiest things that you can do, in addition to kind of having a practice with gratitude, also just celebrating little successes. Let's transition into the energy of wealth, which is resources, life purpose, and career. We have here the Dolphin card, and on it is an Empress-like figure. The card reads happiness, and I think that this is connecting us nicely to the King of Pentacles here. And the King of Pentacles is one of the paternal cards in tarot, capable of doing a lot of what we just saw there, which is nurturing, creating, and this is a month to really let go of something too. Like I said, if you've been holding on, this represents that happiness is within reach. It's really just about taking action. And I think that also connected with the Ace of Swords, which was there all along telling us, like, what are you going to do with these opportunities? Don't wait too long. Don't drag your feet too much. Because, windows of opportunity don't last forever. You owe it to yourself to be happy. You owe it to yourself also to do something that really feels great. So let's break it down now and take a look at all the different categories. So we're going to look at three major subsections here. We're going to look at those that are in a job, including those who own their own companies, so employees and also entrepreneurs, then those that are seeking employment, and then students and retirees. Looking at those who have a traditional job. First of all, it's looking good. You may have a lot of positive developments in your career and in your life. You may feel challenged because you've done so well at one thing that you may not be able to do all of the different or kind of connect with all the different gifts that you have to offer. I had a job at the beginning of my career that I loved, and they didn't know how to place me properly because I could write, I could design, I had ideas around producing, and they're like, you have to choose one. I thought, this is limited. I kind of want to do a couple. And because I was a little indecisive initially, they gave it to someone else. And I was like, can't someone be multifaceted? Ultimately, I realized this was the universe saying, you can, but you're going to have to take it outside of a traditional structure because it may not work. So I want you to explore everything and then decide, do I want to go big or do I want to specialize? Because you may be asked that question. If, like me, you do a lot of things and want to do a lot of things, you'll have to figure out perhaps how to make that happen. And it's maybe more on the entrepreneurial side than sort of like working in a traditional structure. But you could focus on building or developing one of them right now and just tell them that that's your main focus. Meanwhile, you'll start to find other ways and other outlets to do the other things. I think the biggest challenge is some of you have too many possible directions that you could go into and you're being asked to decide. Follow your heart at the end of the day. Usually one of them speaks louder than the others. I'm also looking at the structure here. I like the team. What I like about your reading versus like the sign that I just did before you is it doesn't feel as top heavy. It feels like a decent amount of people in the same skill set. This is what we were talking about earlier, where I felt like the karmic message is that you're very much on the level. So you've done work where one of your peers may feel like they're better than you, but I feel like you're all contributing pretty equally. Even with what we're looking at here, this is a fairly equal card. Maybe there's a little bit of room for balance, but this is a great time. Keep working hard. Do things that kind of set you apart from this group, especially if you want to step up. But just do something that makes you happy, and that also brings you closer to why you came on the planet, and it's going to bring you success overall. I don't see a lot of significant challenges right now other than competition. There's 2 or 3 people here. We have a page, another page, a king and a knight. There's a lot of people that are vying for attention or for focus right now, and from higher ups. So speak up, be yourself, be passionate, multitask, and I feel like that's going to set you in a really good light. So you can succeed this month. Things that will stand in your way: not taking action quickly enough or not being proactive, overcommitting yourself, or overthinking. So just do the reverse of those. Push back on unrealistic expectations, speak up, and trust your instincts. That's the key to success this month. And these are generalist cards. You can do anything that that is put in front of you and that you set your mind to. And there's nothing wrong with having more than one thing that you can do. When you think of really great performers, a lot of times they can act, they can paint, they can write, they can direct. You don't have to just pick one swim lane. That's what I learned many decades into my life that I wish I knew when I was at that first job. But I'm telling you now. So I think the thing to focus on is really do something in this moment great, and then continue to develop those other skills on the sidelines. You're fine though overall, okay? Moving on to entrepreneurs. This is a time to make sure that you're looking in different markets. You don't have to go everywhere. I actually prefer 3 of Wands to like the World card or 6 of Swords, because you're not going to have to spread yourself too thin or look everywhere. Look into 2 or 3 more pockets that you're not currently putting your energy into. It could be a different geographical area. It could be a different online space. It could be a different product or service. Just a little bit of development can bring a lot of rewards. This is the core card that I'm looking for success. I know that we're on the precipice of a new year. There might be some uncertainty in the year ahead, like there is in any year. But the 6 of Pentacles tells me that you're doing well, and the key to continue to do well is to be just sort of like pushy enough in certain areas, just risky enough in certain areas, and conservative enough. Make sure you're saving a little bit of contingency. Make sure you're also not getting too safe or too conservative. So it's the balance. You're doing a good job right now, so continue to create that balance, and then success will continue to come across your horizon. What can you really focus on right now? Scrutinizing contracts. If you bring on a new client or a new vendor, make sure that there's no conflicts of interest and that they're not, or you're not avoiding something that needs to be said. So basically disclose everything. I think it's important to be very honest. And otherwise, I like what I see here. One last thing. If there's something that needs to be changed, a law, a contract, something, well, not a law, a policy, I should say, a policy or a contract, now is the time to act upon that so that in the new year, you're not trying to backpedal. Trust your judgment, and if you need to get something to the court this month, judgment is an auspicious card as well. It's in the upright position. Lead by example here. All right, let's go to job seekers. This is a great time to look. It is competitive though. Like I said, there's a lot of similar people that are looking for the same thing. So what you want to do is stand out, make a splash with the star card, and say more in fewer words. This has come up a couple of times this month. So it's important to act quickly, to be direct, to be succinct, and to be unique. Another thing I want to talk about here is proactivity. So Ace of Swords in reverse can be a cold application to a company that just got started or that you've been following for a while, and you've noticed like consistently there's no job in this area, but they could use it. One of the best jobs I ever got, I just sent a cold application to a company and said, here's my skill set, here's what I'm passionate about. It looks like you're doing great, but I was wondering, are you adding to the team? This is the perfect time to grow if you are, and I would love to be a part of it. And I had someone that just answered me back within a day or two, said, yeah, actually, we are just about to advertise the job that you're asking about. I realize in retrospect I was intuitive and I was probably picking up on that. But we all have the capability of sometimes having the right conversation at the right time. And because you have a card here that represents manifestation, two actually, you can bring this into being. So this can also be someone that you know. Let's say that there might be someone that works in human resources or just started their own company or just seems to know everybody in a business that you're trying to break into. Have a conversation with them and see if they know the person to talk to, because it may be a person who knows a person, all right? And ultimately, what we're seeing here could be 6 weeks, at least 6 days. The numerical sort of kind of computation of 6 here, since it's in the environment. Also, this is showing me that if you can't find the perfect job right now, there may be something that's a contract or like maybe even just a job that you do in the interim that will make it mostly okay. The Six of Pentacles is almost everything you're looking for, but not perfect. So if this is just a temporary thing to tide you over until you find something a little bit more substantial, a little bit more permanent, I'm also picking up on that. Okay. Moving on to students, it's actually a really great time to be a student. The cards are fairly good. We're not seeing a lot other than, again, I'm seeing that mental fatigue stepping in, but not as much physical fatigue as I've seen in some of the other signs. I think just continuing to know when to say yes, know when to say no is going to be important. And just, again, not to overextend yourself. But overall, I'm happy with the Page of Cups and the Three of Wands. There could be some good news, a good score on a test. It feels like you're going in the right direction here overall, okay? And for some of you, maybe what you could be focusing on that's going to help you in your long-term career is written communication or oral communication. So public speaking or just better language skills, whatever your native language is, just focusing on making sure that you can articulate those ideas. That is going to help so much. Even a class in how to present your work. So maybe even a little bit of artistic, like maybe taking a drafting class, or if there's a class that kind of teaches you how to package things, that is so important when it comes to succeeding in the world. So give yourself time for that as well. All right. For retirees, good for you, first and foremost, for being a retiree. I like what I'm seeing here in this spread. You may have too many people knocking at the door asking for your time or your insights. And I think the important thing here is to do a little bit of exploring in the world, to connect with higher realms here, because we have the Star and the Magician. This is a great month to be creative, to focus on intuitive development. And yeah, you can still make a splash right now and do something really exciting. Some of you may be turning a new leaf. You're like, I may be retired, but I still want to work. I still want to do something. And you may be having this really cool second chapter or second act that's coming through. I guess it would be like a third act, right? But whatever. There's a new chapter coming forth where the sky is the limit. I see a lot of creative energy, and it's just a matter of making time and acting upon that right now. Let's move on to love and relationships. The energy that came through here was the shadow. And just like this self-interest card, it's connected to shadow energies like the Devil, the Seven of Swords, and the Moon. All of this really just kind of harkens back to being honest and being real. And if there's anyone or anything in your life that isn't connected to that right now, this is a month where it's going to be revealed. So as we take a look at relationships, I'm going to try to suss that out a little bit and see where you might need to bring things into the light or elevate the conversation. Let's break this down into 3 categories. Those in a relationship, looking for love, or happily single. If you're currently in a relationship, here's what I see. One of the biggest opportunities this month is just making time for one another. And there could be a couple of things that are pulling at you. First of all, the star represents good news. One of you could be pulled into a new project, a new opportunity. There may be multiple things that are arising at once between the two of you. Sometimes when it rains, it pours in the best way, right? A lot of abundance, a lot of opportunity. You could also simply just be working too hard, and this is a reminder to make some time for each other. I do like that the Ace of Swords is present. That shows a clear line of communication. Because it is reversed and because we have the scales here, if there's something that needs to be said, just kind of like get it out in the open. This is a very concise card. Timing is important, but not mincing words, I think, is key. Now, this is interesting. So there may be something where you really want your partner to do something, and it's less for the two of you, it's less for them, it's because you want it. I think to kind of get us out of the shadow energy and the devil energy, which I was kind of alluding to, just simply saying, this would mean a lot if we could do it. And then let me know if there's something that you need. And again, just being transparent brings it out of the shadow and into the light. And I think that's really what this shadow energy could be about. There could also be a little bit of jealousy if one partner has a lot going on and the other partner is kind of, more in the support role. Remember, in relationships, it's give and take. Six of Pentacles reminds you that sometimes it's not always 50-50. Don't make me do too much math here, but yeah, sometimes it's like 60-40 or 70-30 or whatever the configuration may be. One partner is doing a little bit more, one partner is asking for a little bit more. So know this, if your partner is in the star energy and you feel like you're in the shadow, you're both stars, but it's like an orbit. Just one person is in the foreground right now. Don't underestimate your value, celebrate their success, and remember, like attracts like. So the fact that they're right there and they're doing well means that you have a lot of capacity and energy and potential as well, or you wouldn't be there with them. Remember I said you're more peers than you may feel like you are. And one thing that you can do in this particular moment is just find your passion. Get inspired by their story and think, well, if they did it, I can do this. And if there's something that you want, say that. Say, I want to go back to school, or I want to do this because, I've been supporting you in this path for a while. Looks like you're in a really good space. Could we now take a little bit of a turn where I can focus on some things? That's fine. Give and take, ebb and flow. But it is good to state the self-interest and say, this is why it's important to me. Nothing wrong with that. Honesty, integrity, clarity. That's what's important. So I had to kind of look for the shadow, but that's where I saw it. On the bright side, you might be finding better balance in your life, a little bit more time to speak and spend time with each other. I think the challenge here is in how many people are in this spread. So some of you have a bigger family or a lot of friends, and there's a lot of activities, and it's just sort of like making sure that isn't taking up too much time with respect to the relationship, give and take. That's really the key to success this month, is compromise, give and take, and making sure that both of you have a chance to shine. That's what I'm kind of picking up on here. This is another potential shadow card. So although this is one of the brightest cards in this spread and it's angelic, judgment can also be taken at face value, or like the word. And it's sometimes we judge ourselves too harshly, or we judge our partners too harshly, or we don't agree with their opinion, right? So in this moment, if they're ready or willing to take critique or feedback or advice, great. But if they're not, and it's not hurting anyone and it's their choice, then sometimes you just have to let people go with their decision, in the same way that you would hope that you could get that support. If there's external people that are judging you, it's none of those people's business what you're doing. So it's just remembering to kind of release judgment and then take judgment with a grain of salt as well, okay? Fairly manageable. It's actually a decent month here. There may be a couple of challenges, but most of these cards are good because we actually didn't get the Devil, the Ten of Swords, the Tower, the Moon. We just get a hint of it here with this self-interest card, which tells us what we need to focus on, which is making sure that we're not trying to hide something that we want. Say why, create a compelling sort of conversation, and make sure your partner is getting something too. Balance. Balance is key. Okay, let's move on. If you're looking for love this month, can you find it? Yes, but there's a lot going on, so make sure that you're creating enough space and time. You're calling in a karmic relationship, which I alluded to back in the channeled messages. The incoming karmic relationship is a Knight of Wands. Now, the challenge is, do you feel the chemistry? A reversed magician could show two things. One, that there's not a mutual attraction, or two, that there's intimidation. There may be mutual attraction, but there's this thing going on in the mind where you feel like they're out of my league. Don't feel that way. Remember, I saw that you were on the level, that you were peers, so celebrate that sense of you've basically called in a like-minded or like energy person, and don't overthink it. Now, I know I just mentioned karmic relationship. That's fine. We know what's kind of in store for that, and you can choose to embrace it or not. Now, there could be someone from the past in this lifetime, and I do think they should stay in the past. Judgment shows that that is there for a reason. So people sometimes can change, but I'm getting here that someone isn't quite ready, and they're coming through as immature. You're very much in this King of Pentacles energy, and that's why you're pulling in someone that's a little bit stronger, a little bit more balanced. I will take a knight over a page. It's a better match for you. I still think that you deserve a queen or a king here that's on even more of an equal level than you are. And so don't rush it. You have to feel the connection. If you don't, it's time to move on. And I think the other thing here is when you're with that potential partner, so we have the fire sign energy coming through, do you feel like they're listening to you, or are they doing all the talking? Focus on that piece as well, okay? I think the best thing you can do right now, there's so much opportunity that is knocking, like make sure that you're looking at that. This will come into play when it's meant to, but there's a lot of other opportunities here. And that brings us into those that are single and happy. So much opportunity for personal development, great career development opportunities, great entrepreneurial opportunities. Spiritual development could be coming through in a really big way right now as well. So this is a perfect time, and it's almost like the hardest thing is choosing what to focus on. You can go in so many directions right now, okay? Let's now take a look at this interestingly titled Destiny card. So we have toadstools here, and it says growth. And I was thinking a little bit about how mushrooms grow. And they grow out of something that has basically fallen down and started to decay, right? And it really does connect with judgment, rebirth, basically the circle of life. Again, this version of it shows the souls rising up from the dead and new growth, rebirth, reinvention coming forth. So there's a chance to take something in your life that didn't quite pan out the way that you had hoped. And you can learn from it. You can take the rubble and create a new foundation, rebuild, reinvent, reimagine. And something beautiful can take that sort of place, and it's there because of what happened before. Sometimes we need a quote-unquote failure or a delay or a misstep in our past so that when success comes, it's all the sweeter, and we can recognize it, and that's what I'm seeing for you. Let's go ahead and drill into sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what else is coming through for you. Let me just place this card here so I have some room to shuffle. Sun, rising, and moon. We've got some great stuff. Starting off with the sun sign. All right, so we have the Hermit card. The Hermit card is reversed. This Hermit is showing you what the block could be. So instead of a lantern, he's holding an old-fashioned, what do you call that, hourglass. I had to think of the soap, Days of Our Lives. So hourglasses actually have a reset. They can be an hour. They can be sometimes a 3-minute timer, like an egg timer or something like that. But there's a reset coming through. So one thing that I really want to convey from Spirit is if you missed an opportunity before, it's coming around again. It may hit in a retrograde. It may hit when you're least expecting it, but it's coming. And I really want you to just feel like you're going to focus on being ready for that second chance. And that is what this is about. So I feel like it is within reach this month. And when you focus less on the fact that it didn't happen and more on the fact that you're just ready now, whenever it does come back, that's going to help out. Now, hermits are also, of course, known for not mixing and mingling. And when this card is reversed, it's saying it's time to come out of your shell. It's time to see the world. And in doing so, you're also going to show your star power. In the traditional illustration, which I'll find while we're talking, the hermit carries the lantern, which also embodies the star. And the hermit is learning their inner strength, their purpose, and finding the courage to just step out and to be, the star that they always were. So there's going to be a moment this month, perhaps, where someone taps on your shoulder and says, hey, We think you would be great for this. Are you ready? Are you interested? And all you have to do in that moment is get over whatever shyness or insecurity you might have and say, you know what? I think I can do this. Because again, in the corner here, if you look really closely, you'll see that it forms a star. And we already received the star here, reversed. Now we have the Hermit reversed, and it's saying, don't you see your potential? Can't you recognize it? Now is the time. It is imminent. So whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's ready to come through. All you have to do is believe and be present. And when it happens, take action. Okay? Good stuff overall. This is also a collegiate card. So if there's something that you want to learn or sort of like immerse yourself into, whether it's just knowledge acquisition or literally going to school, we get a confirmation and a hit on that as well. This is so awesome coming through in Rising and Ascendant. We have the High Priestess. I love that we can see all of these wheels and cogs that are starting to turn. Just like the Three of Wands, she's saying what it is that you seek is happening as we speak. So it's important to look around. She is empowered whenever Two or Three of Wands comes into the picture. Two of Wands, because you know where you're going. So when you know where you're going, the universe can show you that. When you believe that it's possible, the Three of Wands can show you, all right, you believe, here it is. It's an immediate sort of manifestation. So this is confirmation that you can make it happen, and you can possibly make it happen within the month as long as you focus, believe, and look around. This is a highly creative card. So for those of you that want to make something, construct something, invent something, now is the time to put your energy into that. And also to see it, I was talking about the glasses at the beginning, from a unique perspective and really own that. That's where the star and the High Priestess, they are set up for success. People are ready to receive what it is that you're putting out there. So keep on working, keep on looking, keep on believing, all right? Let's move on to the moon sign. Empress energy. Amen to that. We had a little bit of that on the dolphin card, but she's also coming through here front and center. You can see that something's ready to be birthed here, slightly pregnant belly, and she also has that power of manifestation that she's showing there in her hands. I love how the clocks keep showing up in this particular deck here, the steampunk deck. So it's your turn, it's your time. Part of your success this month is going to be in just simply owning it and saying, I can, I will, I am. This is entrepreneurial. This is stepping into a leadership role. This is letting it go. And so all of that comes through. Really, really good energy for moon sign. Okay? Now is a chance to ask me one more question. Anything that you still are struggling with or need a little bit more clarity on, let's give the cards a shuffle and let's see what Spirit has to say to that question. Just hold it in your mind. And here's your answer. All right, so you actually got both Justice and Judgment. This is a card of decision making. So Judgment came through before this, and it's representing you. So much like the Oracle in the Matrix, she told Neo at one point, she said, I'm just here to help you understand the decision that you've already made. So me too. You have an instinct, you have an intuition, you have a dream, you have something within your belly that's coming through and saying, I want to do it. So this card is saying, decide, acknowledge the inner knowing, and then bring it into fruition. This is also encouraging you to find things in your life that provide the balance that you need as well. So taking it away from that sort of existential and deep answer, the other thing here is simply decide, commit, and set it into action. Set it into a contract. You could make a contract with yourself. The contract could be as easy as a to-do list for today. It could also be a statement, a goal. We're looking at the end of the year now because this is December. So put your sort of, your New Year's resolution together whenever you watch this. And less is more here. We have an ace. I think you could just have a single resolution, one thing that you really want. No more than 3, but one would be great, and really decide this is what's going to happen in 2025. Yes, we're looking that far ahead now, a couple months ahead. And once that happens, so be it. She's like, let the cards fall where they may. This is where I'm at. This is what I believe in. But with both of these, it's time, folks. By the way, because Judgment is here, it's the penultimate or second to last card in the major arcana. That means that the door is just starting to open. The world is next. But you have to decide that you're ready. Other things with this, it basically can represent a legal contract as well. So you could be formulating something to make sure that maybe this is estate planning, maybe this is just protecting yourself, but getting things in legal contract form as well. As a yes or no, it's yes, comma, but you have to believe it, you have to decide, and you have to take action. Then it can manifest. All right, this was a pretty deep reading, actually, with a lot of important messages that came forth. I hope you enjoyed it. It was my pleasure to be present and to channel all of this for you. If you did like it, a great way to show support, which is 100% free, is to hit the subscribe button. All this does is basically give you updates whenever I post new videos in the form of a notification. You can also control how many notifications by clicking the bell and saying, all or some, etc., etc. And hit the like button underneath the video. That also helps YouTube recognize this as valuable. If you would like additional reminders on other platforms, just to know that I'm posting new things, I'm on all major platforms listed below. I'm also on some of the new and emerging ones like Blue Sky. It's always Nicholas Ashbaugh on all those major platforms. You can go to my website for more information or the main YouTube page, and all the links are there. Remember, by the way, that I do not offer private readings and I won't use direct messages to solicit business. So report anybody that does. Let me know about it as well. If you want to give back, you can do it through super stickers, super chat, and of course memberships. It's a great way to allow me to do more content that you love here. So to all that have done that, thank you so much. That's everything, folks. Let's check in on Apollo. He's somewhere behind me. Let's turn the camera. There he is, hiding in the background. I just want to say thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to give Apollo a pat on the head, and then we'll sign off for today. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. Take care of yourselves. Check out my weekly, daily, and monthly videos all on my main YouTube channel page. And until I see you again, I wish you all the best.